All right, welcome back to Problem Solver Politics. I am your host, Cardin Ellis, with Cody the Oracle.
Hey, everybody.
And apparently, Barack Obama's gone conservative, or so says the left. And a big question is, who is he gonna endorse? There's a little bit of rumblings that if anybody might qualify for his endorsement, it's going to be one Andrew Yang. Cody, what on earth is going on? Topsy is turvy, up is down. Barack Obama's conservative and he might endorse an outsider? What?
Yeah, well, so basically, what kind of it gave us the push to the video today was article came out in Politico. And the article is called "Waiting for Obama." The Democratic
Does that sound like a movie, by the way?
It could be. It probably will be, right?
Yeah.
And it said the Democratic establishment is counting on him to stop Trump and perhaps stave off Bernie as well. But can his cerebral politics still galvanize voters in an age of extremes? Now, someone actually on Twitter, I believe it's Emma Vigeland. I'm not super familiar with her, but she went through and highlighted some parts. That are the kind of parts I wanted to show to you guys anyway. So shout out to her for bringing these together. These are the bits I wanted to highlight. Now, this first one is absolutely hilarious. So, this first little excerpt here, it says, Obama said privately that if Bernie were running away with the nomination, Obama would speak up to stop him. Asked about that, a spokesperson for Obama pointed out that Obama recently said he would support and campaign for whoever the Democratic nominee is. Basically saying, Obama, I will tank Bernie so he's not the nominee, and I will support the nominee, whoever it is, right? So that's one person. It looks like Bernie's probably not going to get the Barack nomination, but it's just one candidate, right? So we go on. Oh, he continues and says, yeah, if Bernie were running away with it, I think maybe we would all have to say something, but I don't think that's likely. It's not happening. Wow. Another close Obama friend said Bernie's not a Democrat. So probably not going to be Bernie. Whatever, we knew that for a while. How about this? So over the past year, Obama and his closest advisors were clinical in their assessments of the candidates. They discussed doubts about Kamala Harris's appeal to African Americans, which is, I think, valid. Yeah. And that Obama was deeply skeptical about the prospects of Mayor Pete Buttigieg. Another candidate.
Deeply skeptical. I love that euphemistic speech for.
During their West End meeting, he was complimentary about Steve Bullock's record as a governor and frank about his challenges. Nobody knows who you are, he told him, which is a pretty good point. Again, another couple candidates who probably won't get endorsed by Barack Obama. Kamala Harris and Mayor Pete. Okay. How about the other one, big one, Elizabeth Warren? Obama said privately that if Democrats rallied around her, Elizabeth Warren, as their nominee, it would be a repudiation of him, a clear sign that his economic decisions after the Great Recession have been seen as inadequate. There are very few former senior Obama officials in Warren's campaign. So Warren's not going to get it. So that had me asking. I'll go over to Real Clear Politics over here and look. So, Biden, we would imagine he would have endorsed a Biden by now. Like, it's the fact that Obama's not is pretty cool on Biden. Maybe he'll still endorse a Biden. So maybe Biden's in play. It doesn't sound like, based off that one Political article, and a lot of this stuff is the fact that he's not super warm to Bernie isn't exactly news. The fact that he doesn't love Elizabeth Warren, basically saying that his presidency wasn't good enough, isn't exactly news. Okay. And then I don't think anyone wants to get in the Kamala Harris ship. And like I said, Pete Buttigieg is one of the most, I think of every candidate running, is the most uniquely disliked in the African American community. Like, to an extent where, there's some certain demographics pull higher and lower, but Pete Buttigieg, I've talked about this a lot the last few days, but
he's been struggling.
But I mean, it's stark. Like, he really, it's one of the few kind of hostile demographics to a candidate out there. So I don't think Barack Obama wants to hitch his wagon to Buttigieg either. But suddenly you just go down the list of polling candidates, and the next candidate there is Andrew Yang. Now, we talk a lot about Andrew Yang. Obviously, I'm a big fan of Andrew Yang. I support Andrew Yang. So for me, I'm kind of going to lean that way. However, this isn't totally without merit. I want to bring this up and show you guys here. A lot of you guys probably...
Yeah, this ain't just some clickbait nonsense. It's kind of like, well, you run out of options if this is the conversation.
But not only that. No, remember. I mean, I'm going to show you guys some photos right here. This is from CNN of Barack Obama meeting Andrew Yang I guess Andrew Yang is meeting Barack Obama. I don't know if Barack Obama is meeting Andrew Yang in the White House. Let's go back to 2012 when he was 2013 when Andrew Yang was welcomed to the White House and honored. I mean, here's him speaking with the president and a bunch of his staff right here. When he was honored with the Champions of Change in 2015. Andrew Yang was named an ambassador for global entrepreneurship by the Obama White House. Actually, it's interesting. You can go to the archive, the Obama archive, and there actually still is the Andrew Yang bio on the Champions of Change. And let's see if I can move it up. The White House, the president, and Barack Obama. Now, again, this doesn't mean he's going to endorse Yang, but what I want to highlight here
Dude,
is,
but if there's a link to his website for Champions of Chains, that's some serious street cred.
well, basically what they do is that it looks like they freeze. There's a project that freezes the White House's website during certain administrations, so you can go back and look. So you can still see his bio from Obama's White House.
Yeah.
But my point being is Obama obviously knows who Andrew Yang is. And then another interesting thing I want to point out here as well, going back to this Politico article, I kind of noticed. So in the first paragraph, they mention the sort of pilgrimage that candidates must make to the West End of D.C., which is where
This was interesting. You got to read that about the pilgrimage. That intrigued me.
I'll go through it. So it says, today, almost every Democratic presidential campaign starts with what one close advisor to Barack Obama calls the pilgrimage, the journey to the West End to meet the former president. The West End of Washington, D.C., sandwiched between the better-known districts of Georgetown and DuPont Circle, is known as a neighborhood that people travel through, not to, for elite Democrats that changed 4 years ago when Obama set up his personal office here. You wouldn't know from outside this is one of his plans. So they go through here. And, it gets interesting here. So the first presidential pilgrim started in early 2018, and they continue to trickle through the summer. Not every declared candidate has met with Obama. Andrew Yang and Tulsi Gabbard were notable no-shows. But he let it be known he was available to anyone seeking advice. However, it continues. As a rule of thumb, the closer one is to Obama personally, the less important the West End summit is. Joe Biden, one of the only two candidates who Obama knows at a familiar rather than strictly professional level, was an exception, said an Obama advisor, because I don't think Barack Obama is even fully on board with Joe Biden today. It's probably why. But so it didn't, note that while Andrew Yang didn't actually go meet Barack Obama, and also I would also note that while Andrew Yang and Barack Obama clearly have some working relationship, I don't think it's like a familial, like best friend. I think Yang
they ain't golfing together.
Yeah, but I think Obama has in the past said, yes, you, Andrew Yang, you are a great American entrepreneur. I want you to be an ambassador for the world, like he's noted them. But yeah, it's not come over and have drinks with me and Michelle, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, Card. So
Yes.
I wanted to ask you something.
Ask me.
With all of this stuff in,
I'm getting into my Jock Palahniuk pose. Ask me. If you need an endorsement, you need to go to the person from whom you seek the endorsement and get that endorsement.
Hold on. No, but what I really want to ask you here, though, is because, like I said, going through this article, you'll notice there does not seem to be... Barack Obama seems fairly hostile to the kind of Sanders-Warren wing of the party in the sense of the economic wing. Do you think that... Because here's something... Better question is... Top of your head, anything come to mind is like Yang's official stance on Obama's economy?
Oh, yes.
Nothing really comes to mind for me.
Okay. Dude, this, I'll tell you much right now.
Because Obama seems
it seems like an insecurity
right?
of Barack Obama's that is a litmus test for him.
Yeah.
He goes out there all the time. And I remember there was a specific moment where I thought, ooh, somebody hit a tender spot with you, where somebody said, well, what are people going to remember you for 10 years from now? Everybody says you're the greatest president, but like, what are people going to remember you 10 years from now? I can't remember what the exact question was, but basically looked at him and said, well, I'd say saving the world's economy from, total collapse is one. And it was so just like, don't you know that, kid, that it almost seemed kind of strangely insecure, as though he's like reinforcing it as in like, well, don't you know that? Because a huge criticism of Barack Obama's was that it was our longest recovery in U.S. history. We recovered faster from the Great Depression than we did Obama's recession,
kind of
right?
apples and oranges a little bit, right?
And look, by all measurable quantifiers in economics, we should have pulled out of that thing 6 years earlier. But all of those interventionist policies, whether it was cash for clunkers or all of, you could name 20 different programs they rolled out. Okay.
But what was Yang speaking to it? Do you have
yeah, that's what I'm saying is that's a huge litmus test for Barack Obama, whether or not you're an ally or whether or not you're an enemy. And it's totally based off belief. It's like basically religious. Like, do I either believe that Barack Obama was the best and saved the worldwide economy, or do I not believe that he's the best? And you are either baptized or excommunicated based upon that belief. It's like pseudo-religious.
It's a little...
And Andrew Yang
opinion, I guess is what I'm saying.
He's never crossed in that territory. He's avoided it. Every single time he's been asked by right-wingers that support him, so what do you think of, socialism or Obama or this or that? He always tangents into automation and says, oh, well, I definitely think illegal immigration is getting blamed for what is automation. Oh, I definitely think that slow economic recovery is caused not by, bad, evil Democrats, but by automation. You know what I said? Like he's always been able to pivot to automation instead of throwing the red meat to whatever base is asking him the question, which has actually been a very wise move. Don't forget, I'd asked him during the controversial time of the abortion debate down in the South in Alabama, his abortion stance, and he completely pivoted away from that, saying, hey, I believe if men could get pregnant, that we'd be having different discussions, and therefore I defer to women for this argument, and yada yada, this and that. He didn't stand for, against, under or over the argument. He just stood outside of it. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. But so by my next follow-up too,
I can't think of a time he's criticized or has praised the Obama administration's economy. I can't think of one.
Now, personally, I agree. So I was asking you because I do think, because like you said, that the one thing that stuck out to me in the article too is that does seem to be something that Obama's very interested in. He wants to make sure, which I understand. Because imagine if, for example, I have to imagine it's one of the reasons why George W. Bush doesn't exactly love Donald Trump. He kind of does erase his history.
Okay.
It's actually, let me walk that back. I believe the quote from Donald Trump is that George Bush should be in jail for war crimes. So I think that's why George Bush doesn't like Donald Trump. But you know what I mean? There is this interest, though, with the former presidents wanting to make sure the party kind of follows in their footsteps a little bit. One, it validates them, and you kind of can't run for president if you don't have an ego a little bit, right? Like it's like you can't be Michael Jordan if you don't think you deserve it. You know what I mean? If you don't think you deserve to be the best basketball player and no one deserves to be better than you, you can't reach that. If you don't deserve, I should be president. It's like, I don't know. So I get that, but then also I think there's just a natural angle of I don't think Obama's interested in seeing the direction that specifically Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders bring in the party. And so it doesn't narrow down who's he going to endorse. It doesn't look like it's going to be Biden. I would be absolutely dumbfounded if he endorsed Buttigieg. That would be one of the most shocking days on Twitter, I think, if Barack Obama endorsed Pete Buttigieg. And is Kamala Harris really going to shock the world and make it all the way to the end? It is getting narrow. Now, I do want to mention there's always the option, right, that Obama endorses nobody. That he says, I endorse whoever wins the ticket, right? There isn't. I wouldn't say it's outside of the realm possibility. He just doesn't.
That's kind of like what Mitt Romney did.
Yeah,
back
like they
in the
don't
day.
levy an endorsement until the primary, which, by the way, isn't an awful idea because you don't want to divide the party. But I would say when the party's already split and divided, maybe you want to come in and try and unify it ahead of the general. Anyway, this is an interesting article, which, by the way, no offense to whoever wrote this, David Swirldlick, but it just kind of seems like your general opinion piece garbage. But it says, Barack Obama, conservative. The left and right still must understand his politics. Now, I always joke that Trump has done some things. In some aspects, Obama was more what you would, quote, call conservative. Really, it's just more like establishment government stuff that we just associate with conservatism. But you find out pretty quickly that one of the few bipartisan things is, we should be in the Middle East militarily. That's a pretty bipartisan issue on Capitol Hill. No, we should be there. Amongst voters, not really, but amongst senators, oh, no, it's an outrage if we leave.
Well, I think that's boomer politics. And it's hilarious how now the anti-war party is the Republican Party.
But you'll notice the anti-war party really just flips back and forth. There always has to be one, but DC is always pro-war.
Okay, well, I will correct myself before you continue. I said Jacko Polinick.
Yeah,
dude, it's Jocko Willenick.
It is, yes.
And then Jack Polinick wrote Fight Club. I was mixing up.
Not Jack.
No, it's Chuck Palahniuk. Yeah. Oh, geez. Man, it's a murder scene over here, man. It's a murder scene.
You remind me anyway.
Anyway, keep going.
Yeah, but what I wanted to highlight here was that it is really interesting we're talking about Obama endorsing a candidate. One, because like I said, the Political article came out today, kind of taking a look at it. Seems like behind the scenes, Obama's not really super friendly with a lot of the front runners.
Oh, he's in a minefield right now. But I would not want to be Barack Obama.
Here's the crazy thing. What is the environment today? Let us know. I'm pretty sure in the comments, because here's the thing. People that write for the Washington Post can say whatever they want. I'm pretty sure most of you guys watching, because there's a lot of people I know who don't even like Obama necessarily as far as politically what he did, who still wouldn't say he's a conservative and I hate him. And I'll be like, I didn't agree with what he did, but whatever. It was still Obama. It's one of those things. I know some people, some conservatives Obama will be remembered as the worst president ever. It's I think Obama What do you know? He'll probably fall.
No, he'll just fade into history
Well, yeah.
as just another, I don't know, random, I don't know, Andrew Jackson or what?
Andrew Jackson's, by the way, on our currency. But so I would say,
Yeah, right. He's probably a bad example. That's
Yeah.
a really controversial example. But I mean, like
what I more was gonna say, I think he'll be
Garfield. There was a Garfield.
No, he's not going to be, what was it, William Taft, Howard Taft? But I think Obama will be remembered as, he was a decent enough president, right? Like, he didn't ruin the world. He was the first black president in
As
America.
long as identity
That's
politics,
notable.
politics endure, he will be America's first black president as his largest claim to fame.
Not even that. Just the fact that he was, anyone who was president for 8 years and, like, the world didn't end, you know what, man? You did okay. You know what I mean?
Establishing the precedent of, drone striking every 20 minutes for 8 years.
But
Anybody and everybody
he was just building.
like doing.
That was, here's the thing. When people talk about, I don't want to get too, you know what? We're not going to get too lost. We're going to keep it to Obama's endorsement of Yang. Like I said, the fascinating thing is that Yang and Obama have ties. They go back. I mean, here we go. So this is an interesting thing. It's not the same thing. It's from the White House of President Barack Obama from way back in 2012. Celebrating a year of champions of change, President Obama meets with 12 champions who are making a difference in their communities. And you can see right there, Mr. Andrew Yang.
All right.
He mentions here people. So what's interesting about this is, like I said, it doesn't seem like Obama's really too interested in endorsing anyone, which is very interesting at the moment. However, he didn't mention, I don't think, Andrew Yang too harshly by name in this article. And on top of that, they have history together. Now, it is worth noting that Yang didn't make the so-called pilgrimage to visit Obama, but I don't know, man. It does seem like, and another thing, I don't have it pulled up right here in front of me, but remember, Barack Obama has been on the record referencing being, I don't want to say like a UBI advocate, but definitely mentioning the idea of like UBI probably being a way forward in the future. The only real mainstream UBI candidate pushing it, Andrew Yang, seems to be the one candidate that, at least by one reporting, Obama doesn't overtly have hostilities towards or just not like. That's a pretty good thing for him. Now, again, will Obama play the politically safe thing? Or could you argue this is when a political party needs a former leader to step in and give him leadership? And like,
there's nothing in it for him.
But yes, oh my God. I don't think, remember we talking about these guys have egos? There's nothing in it for Barack Obama to come swooping in, save the
in the last hour, but I'm saying right now, there's nothing in it for him.
He comes in, unites the party around a candidate. That candidate beats Trump. He's like a god. He gets a statue. You know what I mean? Probably only going to get a statue. He'll get another statue if he does that. Like,
he'll get another library.
It reminds me kind of in baseball. There was a Theo Epstein. He was a very young guy, took over the Boston Red Sox, and he helped build the baseball team that ended up breaking their 80-plus year curse. He then took a job with the Chicago Cubs, take on the task of breaking that 100-year curse, in which you go on and did. Which, of course, you just kind of do it. It's kind of like, not like an ego move, but you know what? I did it once. I could do it again. I don't know. I think it could be interesting. Again, we're just speculating here. My honest, like, if I had to put money on it, I would say Obama doesn't endorse anyone until the primary's over, and then he endorses whoever wins the primary. And then depending on how much he actually likes that person, it's the kind of level of endorsement they get from him. But I will say it's fascinating, man. I mean, Andrew Yang, like, it would be fascinating to imagine, like, one day this picture just being slightly reversed, right? With Andrew Yang sitting in there. I don't know, man.
That would be so true.
It would be a very...
That would be some deep stuff. That would be like the photo...
Yeah, but just a cool path to the White House, right? Like, entrepreneur, a businessman, kind of got his way, got a little bit of political notoriety from the president at the time, and then comes back about a decade later to run...
Man, that would be royal, dog. That would be royal.
Yeah, so a little bit of this is just kind of like, fan fiction. But the reality of the situation is Obama doesn't seem too warm to any of the front runners. And like I said, if you just go down the list of people...
Well, and he can't choose Tulsi, or else the DNC is going to basically melt that statue into gold bullion.
But just going from polling the aggregate top to bottom, it's like he's just like, not him, not him, not him, not... It leaves Yang, basically.
I'm going to tell you, I think Barack Obama is in the same situation as the average Democrat voter right now. Okay, he probably feels like his party got hijacked. Barack Obama enjoyed being the most liberal person in the room while he was president. Okay, he was the most liberal president that had been elected. He was the most liberal and progressive person that had pushed the most liberal and progressive nationalization of healthcare ever. Barack Obama, up until now, has enjoyed the title of the most progressive person in the room. And trust me, that's a fun place to be, okay? It's hilarious because all of my liberal friends think I'm super conservative. and all of my conservative friends think I'm super liberal. Okay. And it's actually fun being the most liberal one in the group. Trust me, when I show up to church, people think I'm a liberal. So anyway, that's a cool place to be in. And now he's no longer in that place. The party has drastically shifted away, believe it or not, even from where Barack Obama was just 2 or 3 years ago.
They're calling him a conservative.
So, yeah, I mean, for heaven's sakes, this all started out because Politico wrote this article about Barack Obama,
this
the conservative. Sorry, Washington Post said.
Politico wrote that one.
Yes, I stand corrected. The Washington Post said, Barack Obama is getting called a conservative right now. So Barack Obama, I guarantee you, is feeling the same as a steel mill worker in Ohio, who's like, dude, I grew up when Democrats were the party of the working guy, the underclass, or it's not the underclass, the underdog and the working class. And now all of a sudden Trump's the guy of the working class. And gosh, when I was growing up, the people that were distrustful of corporations and, weren't corporatists, man, the corporatists were Republicans, but now, holy smoke, the corporatists are Democrats. Wait, so what am I? What do I stand for? Which party do I vote for? What the heck? Barack Obama is probably sitting there just as confused as this guy. The steel mill workers thinking, where'd my party go? What does it stand for now? And like, whoa, the activists have taken over the Democrat Party, my party. He's also probably wondering the same thing in the White House or in his office in the West End. Where on earth did my party go? Because they're advocating for things I never advocated for.
Well, I think a great thing you said there, it's a great way of putting it, and I think it's really important for Democrat establishment to remember, like you said, is I definitely do think when Barack Obama speaks, he is echoing what your average Democrat thinks, for the most part.
Yeah.
So I think people should listen to Obama because, yes, remember, Obama was elected by the Democratic Party twice, not even a decade ago. Well, I guess the first one was about a decade ago, but you do give me the sense that it's like these people still exist, man. Like, when he speaks, he's still speaking to a large section of Americans who agreed and believed in him. You can argue, because you mentioned Obama doesn't go on stage and talk about what we should be doing in the Middle East and how many drone strikes you should be running. People would disagree on that.
Well, yeah.
But when he does speak, the things he does speak about,
because
people
anybody that says, not on the daily
but
is...
my larger point is when he does come out and speak, the things he's speaking about generally does reflect what your normal Democrat voter thinks. And I think the fact that we're seeing people ignore that to the point of where Obama's even thinking like, I'm not going to... Because here's the thing. I think when Obama... I think the exact same thing. I think there's people sitting around and saying, like, I don't trust Pete Buttigieg. People saying the same thing. I don't really like what Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders necessarily want to do with the economy. I think like, if you voted for Obama twice and you thought that was okay, what are you going to say when the party turns around and goes, because remember, Hillary was I used to joke that Hillary's campaign slogan should be 4 more years. She was kind of an extension of Obama without the Obama presence.
Yeah.
A lot of her policy was. So the fact that they're just going to be like, nope, to hell with it. All of it's gone. We're going with a whole new direction. We're going to go full Bernie Sanders, who, by the way, Barack Obama worked overtime to screw out of his nomination.
Oh,
so, like, I can see why he wants to come back and regain the party. And again, I keep saying, I don't see exactly the lane yet, but lanes are opening where Yang can walk. Because again, I can just show you the graph. Like, we're early in the season, but everybody's going up and down on this graph.
Yeah, this is nuts.
People get their run, they go down. There's no real clear front runner.
This is nuts.
We were talking
by the way,
earlier,
look at Elizabeth Warren.
Yeah.
I mean, really, now that we've got
Same
almost
with Harris,
a year's worth of data on that map, really, that rise of Elizabeth Warren is a thing of beauty if she weren't such a lying
Well, larger point being,
pile of...
I do think, just the point I want to make here, and the reason why that article kind of inspired me to talk about this is I think that could really be that lane. The field's wide open, but if all of a sudden it gets to the point where it's getting closer and closer, it's getting to the 11th hour, Democrats have nobody really. Yang has a lot of support. Obama does like him, but it's a big if. We don't know. That could be the turning point for Yang in a primary. Obama coming out, month before the elections, Obama, if Yang keeps moving up in the polls and saying something like, hey, look, this party needs a new way forward, and I think the new way forward is Andrew Yang. I've known him for years. I've worked with him for about a decade ago. I brought him into my own White House because I believed in what he did, and I think he has the ideas we need. If Obama said that, all these people that I
don't think he's courageous enough.
I think Obama's definitely used president twice. You have to be courageous to run. Here's the thing. I'll end on this. We've gone too long, but I remember we were at that First in the West dinner in Nevada, and by the time late in the evening had gone on, basically everybody had left except for Tom Steyer supporters and the Yang gang, and then some scattered donors were left. Everyone else had left, and John Delaney came up and gave a speech. and there is not one person in that room who was there to John DeLay. No one cared. And he had ESPN to go up there for 10 minutes. And that's brave, man. You have to go into a room full of people. Some are either hostile or indifferent, and go up there and essentially not embarrass yourself, because you get to decide that, but go up there and have no one listen or care about what you say for 10 minutes and just kind of walk down. It takes some backbone to do that. So running for president at any level takes some backbone. Winning twice. So I think Obama has the bravery for it. It's more just, I think the bigger thing is Obama's like, I was supposed to at least have like 6 or 7 years off, and you guys are dragging me again already.
I was about to say, that's the other reason I feel bad for him.
But, and I'm not saying I think it will happen. I would not bet money on it. But is that not totally the kind of lane that would lead to an outsider of that gang winning?
I think so.
It's going to take
that
something.
Is the lane, but whether or not somebody has, it's just like the Autobahn in Germany. We all know it's there, but who's brave enough to go 150 kilometers per hour? Yeah. We all know it's there. Oh, the Autobahn has no
but is
speed
150
limit.
Kilometers even fast?
That's about 100 miles per hour.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying? And the average person, starts freaking out at about 100 miles per hour.
I guess. I don't know. We drove to
maybe
Vegas.
Not your daredevil zennial.
We drove to Vegas recently, and I'm going like 85, and people are like, flying fast. So, yeah.
Okay.
Jokes aside.
Anyway. Yeah, I'm curious to see what happens. Let us know what you guys think. Please, if you can contribute to the channel, make sure you check out the PayPal link that's in the description, or purchase a hat at problemsolverpolitics.com. Also, follow us, please, on Twitter at PSP Radio 1. Once again, that's PSP Radio 1, where we do a lot of our announcements. Also, make sure, if you can, to give us a voicemail. We'll actually do some voicemail calls right now. Give us a voicemail at 1-833-PSP Radio. We look forward to hearing from you guys. We will be streaming tonight on Twitch, taking your calls. So be there or be square. This is Problem Solver Politics. See you guys tonight.